So you just bought a record. Maybe it's your first one. Congratulations, you made it to the wonderful world of vinyl. But is it audiophile? No, I'm asking you, is it audiophile? But Bob, you say, it said audiophile on the hype sticker. Well, slow down, Sparky. You may not know what you've got. Hi, I'm Bob, and you are in the United States of Analog. And you can do me a huge solid by liking, subscribing, commenting, hitting that notification bell. You'll be helping my young fledgling channel survive. Thank you very much for doing that. Now let's get to the issue of audiophile recordings. Now, today we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to show you three recordings, three records. One is definitely audiophile. One is a maybe audiophile. The third is a hidden audiophile. And then I've got a fourth record I'm going to show you that may or may not be audiophile. I don't know, but it's a cool find. And I have a very cool personal story to tell about that artist. So we'll do that at the very end, but don't skip ahead. We've got a lot to talk about. So what makes an audiophile recording? Well, it could be one of many things or a combination of them all. First of all, it could be on 180 gram vinyl. It could be on 200 gram vinyl. Maybe it's on black vinyl or purple vinyl or even that Japanese super vinyl that you've heard about. Maybe it's got a tip-on jacket. Maybe, just maybe, it's mastered by somebody famous like Kevin Gray. Well, if you're lucky, check that Runout Groove. Or Ryan K. Smith, or any number of people. Bernie Grunman, shout out to Bernie out there. Yeah, all those things and more could make it an audiophile record. But here's my quick take and evaluation on what audiophile is. I think an audiophile record, regardless of what the hype sticker says, is any record that makes your system sound better. Does that make sense? It makes your system sound better than it usually does. Maybe it makes your system sound so good you want to invite people over to your house or your listening room to play it for them because it's a demo disc. It sounds like a demo disc. You're hearing more things than you ever heard from your system and from the record. Now, what is a recording but really latent music in a way? Like on film, the image is latent until you develop it. Well, that's an old reference. Remember film? Well, the same with a recording. Until you drop a needle into the groove, it's not making any sound at all. It needs equipment to make it come to life. So I think if that recording makes your equipment sound better, let's go ahead and call it audiophile. But all the other things I mentioned before that count as well. And in some cases, you have all those things going for you. Tip-on jacket, great cover, original artwork, great vinyl composition, great weight, great masterer, all that stuff. So today I want to show you three records that I've been listening to recently that, again, cover three different parts of the spectrum. Absolutely audiophile, perhaps audiophile, hidden audiophile, and we'll get to that final record in just a second. All right, let's start with the first one. And I don't even know if this is available anymore. I was lucky enough not only to get one, but I was also lucky enough to get one of these in great condition. Because according to Mike of the In-Groove, which is a great record store and YouTube channel, by the way, he says a lot of these got damaged in shipment. So of the run, the limited numbered edition run of 5,000 of the Cars eponymous, the Cars, on 180 gram vinyl, cut from original analog master tapes by Kevin Gray at Coherent Audio, heavyweight gatefold jacket, insert, question and answer stuff. But a lot of these apparently got jacked up in shipping. I've got a perfect copy. I've got a perfect copy, and it sounds amazing. This is 100% audiophile. So if you're lucky enough to get one of these, and you may have to get it on the secondary market now, congratulations, because this is the final word, the definitive version of the Cars eponymous, and Kevin Gray did an amazing job. I cannot speak more highly of this record. I'm sorry if you got one of the ones that was dinged in shipping. Rhino used the cheapest possible box they could to ship it, but somehow this got to Texas unscathed. And I'll be doing a shootout soon with this version I just picked up just a couple days ago of the Cars eponymous on Mobile Fidelity original master recording. So we'll see. We'll put them through their paces. But for me right now, until then, this is the definitive copy. So ask for it by name. Now, I said we were going to do a record that was perhaps audiophile. Let's see what we have here. Creedence Clearwater Revival. Now, before I get into the specifics, let me tell you this record sounds great. And it has great importance to me because it's one of the first records I ever owned. Actually, I owned it on cassette back in the 60s when it came out. I remember playing this over and over again on cassette, and it's packed with hits. And now Abbey Road Studios has given it the full half-speed mastering treatment. It comes on this delicious, I hope you can see it. Let me get the light on it there. I don't want to take it out. I don't want to risk it. But it's on this delicious blue vinyl here. And you know, that's another thing that got me thinking about audiophile is that, you know, I've always said, always bet on black when it comes to recordings. What I mean by that is sometimes I feel like colored vinyl is a little noisier. I have no scientific proof to back that up. That's just a feeling that I have. And I have certain colors in my head that I think are noisier than others, like red. I don't know why red vinyl always seems noisier to me. I'm sure it's psychological, and I would need many more years of therapy to figure that out. But this is Willie and the Poor Boys from Creedence, first released in 1969, marking the band's third studio album in that same epochal year. Epochal? Creedence Clearwater Revival's 50th anniversary version, Fortunate Son, Down on the Corner, Midnight Special, Cottonfield, the hits go on and on, pressed on 180-gram audiophile quality vinyl. All right, they don't say the record's audiophile, but it's implied. It's audiophile quality vinyl, half-speed mastering. Now, there's some of you out there and some experts that say half-speed mastering it can be detrimental at times to a recording, which would make this maybe not audiophile. In other words, the half-speed mastering, from what I know, might help with a lot of the detail. Mastering it at half speed can enhance the detail, but maybe lose a little bit of that bass punch that we all love, especially in rock and roll albums like this. So you have to listen to it for yourself, decide whether it's for you and whether it's audiophile. I think for the material, you know, for what it is and the material that's presented here, which is just pure rock and roll, very live sound, to me this sounds very, very good, the best I've ever heard it, and I highly recommend this particular half speed from Abbey Road. I think it's a good compliment. Oh, by the way, here's a quick photograph of me and my boys a few years ago, just outside of Abbey Road Studios, crossing the famous crosswalk there that the Beatles did their Abbey Road album cover on. All right, we're back. You know, there's something for me special about Creedence Clearwater Revival. I think if you're in a young band, right, you're in a band starting out, you need to study Creedence, not just for the musical part of their career and John Fogerty's songwriting and production, but for the business aspects of the music business. You know, this is a story told time and time again about an artist losing complete control of their own music. It's sad, but it's happened so many times, and young bands should study the life of John Fogerty. You know, he was actually sued at one point for copying himself, but that's a story for another day, and he lost that suit, by the way, if I remember right, if memory serves. But there's something about their music that always takes me back to my childhood and my early teens. You know, when I hear Fortunate Son, and when I hear like Run Through the Jungle, which isn't on this record, but you know, you think about the Vietnam War, right? And those images on TV. Their music has that kind of impact. And so, you know, it's super cool. Is it the best recording? I don't know, but it sounds super live, like they were making it up in the studio as they went along. So again, highly recommend this. Could be audiophile, maybe not, but we know at the very least, it's half-speed mastered and put on 180-gram audiophile vinyl. Yeah, speaking, just to run the half-speed mastering thing into the ground, it's as old as time. They've been doing half-speed mastering for decades. Here's Darkness on the Edge of Town, half-speed mastered from the probably from the late 70s, and from a little earlier on, Born to Run, half-speed mastered. I don't know if the half-speed mastering in these particular cases helps the recording at all. I mean, you know, they were going for the wall of sound. They weren't going for audiophile recording back then. So it seems a little overkill on a record that features kind of the Phil Spector wall of sound. A little bit overkill to half-speed mastered. But hey, I've got him. I'm not throwing shade at the boss. He's my favorite artist, but maybe a little overkill. Okay, now for a hidden gem. And I just discovered this one. Billy Cobham Spectrum. Okay? There's nothing about this that says audiophile. There was a hype sticker. I forgot to save it. I normally peel them off the shrink wrap and try to stick them on, you know, another cover. But it didn't say anything about being an audiophile recording. But it comes on beautiful, beautiful clear vinyl. I hope you can see that. Got the Retro Atlantic label, which always reminds me of Led Zeppelin records, right? Always reminds me of my first Led Zeppelin records, American pressings. But when you dig into this record and you look into the runout, you started to notice something that wasn't even on the hype label. I'm looking here. Let me see if I can see it in this light. I'm pretty sure Kevin Gray's initials are on here somewhere. Hang on a second. I see KPGCA. Do you know what that stands for? Kevin Gray Coherent Audio. This is 100% audiophile. And when I put it on my studio deck turntable, or any turntable for that matter, it sounded amazing. Now, I'm really late to the game when it comes to Billy Cobham. I was in high school when this came out, and a lot of kids I knew were playing it, but you know, I was Mr. Rock and Roll, and I wasn't going to play any jazz or anything that sounded like jazz. But if there ever was a fusion between jazz and rock and roll, this is the record, Billy Cobham Spectrum. This is part of the Rhino Be Good to Your Ear series, I think it's called. You're not going to see Kevin Gray on the front, on the back, on the hype sticker, but it's there. And this was under 25 bucks. I think it was 22 bucks. So what a deal to get a pure audiophile mastering, pressing, recording. It's dead quiet. I will put this record up against any of my... You know what? That's another thing I wanted to talk about. Sometimes you can get a record that's 100% certified audiophile on the jacket. It's designed to be audiophile. It's pressed on virgin Japanese vinyl. It costs 150 bucks. And then you take it out of the sleeve, and maybe it's dirty or oily or it's got fingerprints on it, and you put it on the turntable and it's got all kinds of surface noise, and you go, wait a minute, this is supposed to be dead silent, but it's not. It's not dead silent. And what are you going to do? You just got a bad pressing. Something that was audiophile is no longer audiophile when it just sounds run-of-the-mill, when it's noisy, when the noise floor is so high, when the scratches and the pops and everything are coming through, and you drop 150 bucks on it. Makes you wonder. It makes you wonder why you're in this game. Well, you're in this game because you love it, and them's are the chances you take. And sometimes you get a Billy Cobham for 21 bucks, and it sounds like a $150 record. And sometimes you get a UHQR that's dirty and noisy, and you paid 150, but it sounds like a $20 record. Does that make sense? Well, I hope so. All right, I got to calm down because I have a cool story to tell you. I saw this record in my collection the other day. I bought it a couple months ago. It's a Target exclusive. It's Erykah Badu. It comes on this beautiful, beautiful lemonade vinyl. It's heavyweight vinyl, and it sounds good, good dynamics and everything. And her music's fantastic, great grooves, great beats. I got a cool story to tell you about Erykah Badu, and that's why I brought this record out. It's a Target exclusive, so you can probably find it. It's not the usual Target fare, I must say. And that's one of the reasons I bought it. A few years ago, I was a cinematographer on my buddy Andrew Shapter, who's passed away now, but he made a great documentary a few years ago. And it's been maybe about 10 years ago now, called Before the Music Dies. And it's a documentary about music and how it was changing and how auto-tune was changing the game. Now they're saying artificial intelligence is changing the game. But a decade ago, everybody was talking about auto-tune. But I got to, he asked me up to Dallas to run camera on a recording session with Erykah Badu and Doyle Bramhall too. And I was honored to be asked to do that. And I grabbed my camera and went up there with them, and we stayed in the Motel 6 overnight. And it was definitely a low budget shoot. But the studio was fun, and watching Erykah Badu work was not only intimidating and terrifying. Don't get me wrong. She was a wonderfully gracious and super friendly person in the studio, but when it came to creating, I could see that intensity in what she was doing, running around, trying different machines, trying different drum machines, trying to find the beat. In fact, I used a long lens on a lot of that because I didn't even want to get close to her. I didn't want to get called out. I didn't want to get her off of her game. I remember during a break, she was sitting on a couch in the corner of the studio, and I was trying not to make eye contact with her, but let me tell you, it was very difficult. It was very difficult because she got this presence and aura about her that was just unbelievable. But our eyes did meet at some point, and she was sitting on that couch, and she did that. She patted the couch right next to her, signaling me to come over and sit down next to her. Well, of course, I took the invitation and I sat down next to Erykah Badu, and she produced a notebook and a pen. And she had it on the other side of her, and she got it out and she opened it up and she said, you know, she introduced herself and I introduced myself, and we chatted for a little bit. She goes, okay. She goes, tell me some of the things that your mother or grandmother used to say to you. And I was like, okay, where's this conversation going? I didn't really get it at first. So I told her a few things, like my mom always used to say, if wishes were fishes, we'd all need a net. Or if was the biggest word in the dictionary. You know, stupid stuff like that. So I rattled off some of those things, and she wrote them all down. And we chatted a little more. She closed the notebook and said thank you, and she went back to tapping on her little drum machine. It only occurred to me later that perhaps she was digging for lyrical content, right? Now, I don't know. I haven't listened to every Erykah Badu recording, but I wonder somewhere if there's a lyric that goes, if wishes were fishes, we'd all need a net. I hope so. I'm working through her canon right now. Anyway, that's just one of the many personal kind of celebrity stories I have for you from my career in concert promoting and television and radio and all that stuff, and a little bit of shooting movies and things like that. So more of that stuff, more of that kind of content on the way. If you like that kind of personal stuff, let me know. If you just want me to stick to numbers and figures, I can do that too. Put it in the comments below. But right now, why don't you let me know below, what is your best audiophile recording? What is the best recording on vinyl that you personally own? And tell me why it's so good. Do that below. Until next time, I'll see you in the United States of Analog.